Welcome to Football Game Plan's FCS Kickoff, presented by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and this is our 2016 Big South Conference preview. So let's get things kicked off by taking a look at the top 5 burning questions heading into the 2016 season for the Big South. Number 1, was it an aberration or is this the reality for Kennesaw State? The Owls of Kennesaw State finished their first season of football with an impressive 6-5 record. Last year's success in their debut season is a testament to the job that head coach Brian Bohannon has done recruiting and getting his guys ready to play. Now, was last year an aberration, or are we expecting the Owls to pick up right where they left off? Last year did net them 2 D1 wins versus Gardner-Webb and Monmouth, and close losses versus Presbyterian and also Liberty. Even with a tougher schedule this season, you can see why optimism is high at KSU this year. The Monmouth Hawks will play 8 road games this year, as construction will begin on their beautiful new stadium the day after their last home game versus Kennesaw State on October 29th. Now, the Hawks have done real well on the road, especially within conference play. Can they keep that road mojo going will be the question. Also, let's not understate the huge games that they do have at home this year. Charleston Southern, Fordham, and also Kennesaw State. Maybe being on the road will prove to be an easier task than on the shores for Coach Kevin Callahan's squad. Are the Flames rebuilding or are they reloading? I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? We've grown to know the Flames as a formidable opponent, not just in conference, but across the FCS landscape. There are big-time losses on both sides of the ball and some reshuffling within the coaching staff. But what we have also grown to know is that head coach Turner Gill will always have his guys ready to play each and every week. And this inexperienced group will open up with the doozy in Blacksburg, Virginia, with the Hokies of Virginia Tech. And 2 weeks later, they're traveling to Dallas to take on SMU. It's all about sustaining success, and since head coach Jamie Chadwell's arrival, the Charleston Southern Buccaneers have enjoyed records of 10-3, 8-4, and 10-3 last season, winning the Big South Conference in the process. So I think he and his staff have proven that they do understand what it takes to sustain success at the Division I level. The Bucs recruit well and do a great job of making in-game adjustments. Now, the feeling is that this program is one landmark win away from taking that giant leap onto the national landscape. Could that come in week 1 in the FCS Kickoff versus the 5-time reigning 5th straight national champion, North Dakota State Bison? We shall see. And finally, Presbyterian is notorious for playing close, tight ball games versus perceived favorites. Last year alone, they lost 5 games by 8 points or less. They open up this year with 3 straight road games and also open up conference play on the road versus Gardner-Webb, who beat them by 5 last season. I'm not saying, but I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me if the Blue Hose pull off 2 to 3 upsets this year. Now let's take a look at some of the key games this year in the Big South Conference. The Charleston Southern Buccaneers open up the college football season in a huge matchup on August 27th versus the 5-time reigning national champion, North Dakota State Bison. I've been to the Fargo Dome, and it's the loudest stadium I've ever been in, which includes Darrell K. Royal Stadium at the University of Texas. This is a huge game, not only for Charleston Southern, but for the Big South Conference as well. This is a program and conference defining game, and it's a great matchup to kick off the 2016 FCS season. September 24th looks like a big weekend in the conference as Monmouth, in one of their only 3 home games, take on Charleston Southern. The winner of this game could have an inside track to win the conference. Kennesaw State travels to Duquesne to take on the Dukes, and this is a big game because the Dukes are picked by many to win the Northeast Conference, and also it's a barometer game for Kennesaw State and their program. Liberty plays host to FCS runner-up Jacksonville State, and Gamecocks head coach John Gross will have his guys tuned into this matchup in an attempt to avoid a letdown, while Liberty head coach Turner Gill will preach to his guys that this is their opportunity to make a statement and send one to the rest of the FCS. On October 22nd, Presbyterian travels to Charleston Southern, and the Bucs won this game last year 10-7, and it should be another close game. And could we see a different result? The Blue Hose definitely hope so. We'll be back with more of our Big South Conference preview after this commercial break.
The FCS, in my mind, is the greatest level of football in the country. It doesn't necessarily always have the resources, the glitz, the glamour of the FBS level, but the FCS is a level that I think plays outstanding football. It's extremely competitive. It plays to a national champion at the end in a tournament format, and I think the experience of aiming for that championship is something that you can't get on any other level.
New York City is the largest market for broadcast media. It's the epicenter for the TV and radio industry. If you ever had a dream of working in the thrilling broadcast world, then make it a reality by going to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. CSB has helped numerous people get a job with hands-on training and a learn-by-doing mentality. You will learn all of the high-tech equipment in the TV and radio studios. From hosting your own radio show, to being a news or sports anchor, operating a camera in the TV studio, or editing audio and video, the choice is yours. Graduates from CSB have gone on to work at some of the major companies in the industry. To get more information, call 1-800-TV-RADIO or check us out at gocsb.com. Your road to success starts here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
And welcome back to the FCS Kickoff as we continue to preview the Big South Conference. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Now it's time to get into some Big South Conference superlatives, and we'll kick off this segment by unveiling our 2016 preseason All-Big South team. Starting on the offensive side of football, Kennesaw State's quarterback Trey White headlines this list, and White's ability comes on the ground in the Owls' option-oriented offensive attack as the 6', 205-pound senior nearly rushed for 1,000 yards last year. The ground game is the common theme amongst Presbyterian, Monmouth, and Charleston Southern, as all three schools placed running backs on this list. Darrell Bridges ran for over 1,000 yards last year, while both Levon Chaney and Darius Hammond finished with over 850 yards. Now, tight end Mike Estes is a tremendous receiving option for the running Bulldogs of Gardner-Webb. And looking along the offensive line, Tanner Hartman of Liberty and Alex Thompson of Monmouth are the only juniors to make their way onto the starting five. Moving over to the defensive side of football, you see the excellence at linebacker for the Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs, as both senior Chad Jeter and Aaron Cook cracked the list. In the secondary, Troy McGowans of Charleston Southern filled up the stat sheet last season, racking up 46 tackles, 5.5 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 6 pass breakups with an interception. Kennesaw State's secondary is well represented with Derek Farrell and sophomore Taylor Hinkle, and Farrell was a second-team All-Big South performer last year after forcing 4 fumbles and was second on the team in tackles with 51 solo stops. Going back to the defensive line for a minute, keep an eye on Jerron Green out of Liberty. While he may not stuff the stat sheet, so to speak, his impact as an all-conference player is definitely worthy when you watch the film. Green is able to affect the game because of his ability to occupy blockers, which give the linebackers room to make plays. Anthony Ellis of Charleston Southern and Obina Tisagwe of Presbyterian are 2 edge rushers who constantly play behind the opponent's line of scrimmage. Both guys combined for 24.5 TFLs and 12.5 sacks. It was a great year for freshman special teamers last season, as our preseason all-conference team has 3 sophomores on the list. Returnman Damian King out of Liberty, Deshaun Davis out of Presbyterian, and kicker Justin Thompson out of Kennesaw State are all coming off outstanding freshman campaigns. Punter Troy Turner of Liberty makes the list as the only junior after averaging 40 yards per punt last season. We'll take a quick break and come back with more Big South Conference superlatives. Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books.
Are you ready?
The Connecticut School of Broadcasting can help you reach the next level in the amazing world of broadcast and entertainment media.
I've mentored several interns here at the Covino and Rich Show at SiriusXM, and the ones from CSB always stand out to me. They have a knowledge of the equipment, knowledge of editing, what it's like to be in a studio, and that always eliminates a huge learning curve.
Their professional studios give students a hands-on, learn-by-doing approach using equipment used in actual radio stations and TV studios. Visit our website at gocsb.com or call 1-800-TV-RADIO. Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Start today.
And welcome back to our Big South Conference preview on the FCS Kickoff presented by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Now, jumping back into our conference superlatives, we'll take a look at the best of by position. And starting with the quarterbacks, I would have to say Monmouth has the best core in the Big South. Rising sophomore quarterback Cody Williams is coming off a very promising freshman campaign where he tossed 12 touchdowns and is being backed up by a quality player in senior Devin Ray. Expect Williams to play even better because of the trial by fire freshman season, and he's coming into 2016 with a ton of confidence. The best group of running backs has to go to Charleston Southern as the Buccaneers boast a 3-headed rushing attack with Darius Hammond, Ben Robinson, and Mike Holloway. All 3 combined for over 2,000 yards on the ground, and that's important because the Bucs are breaking in a new quarterback this year to handle the rock in their vaunted option attack. I like what the Liberty Flames bring to the table in the receiving department. They're also breaking in a new quarterback, but with the duo of Zach Parker and BJ Farrow, it'll make the transition that much easier for whomever takes over under center. Also keep an eye on both Isaac Brown and Kyle Carrington as 2 more talented targets that could see increased playing time this season. You can't deny the Buccaneers offensive line. Eric Osto and Jackson Williamson lead the way, but as a group, they lean on opponents and are able to execute flawlessly on a consistent basis. You don't have the rushing attack and the overall offensive success they've had over head coach Jamie Chadwell's tenure if you're not very good up front. Monmouth also has the best defensive line in the conference. They get defensive end Darnell Leslie back from injury, and they are extremely deep on the 2 deep with guys like Demetrius Smith, Andrew Foster, Eli Brown, and DJ Martin. With a senior-laden group up front and a healthy rotation, look for the Hawks to be extremely tough to move the football against this year. The Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs have the best linebacking core in the conference. You could even make a case for them having the best in the FCS. Both Chad Jeter and Aaron Cook are 2 of the best in the business. The duo combined for 20.5 TFLs and 8.5 sacks. Gardner-Webb also has quality depth here with guys like Michael Cunningham, Dante Gordon, and Kenyatta Dunbar. And finally, the Liberty Flames get the nod for the best special teams in the Big South. While field goal kicking is a question, the Flames are rock solid in the punting department with Trey Turner, who averaged 40 yards per punt last season, and they are also sound in the return game with Damian King. The 5'11", 170-pound sophomore averaged 20.7 yards per kickoff return, and wide receiver Zach Parker also chipped in and led the team in punt return yardage, averaging 10 yards a return, bringing 1 back for a touchdown. It's never too early to take a look toward the 2017 NFL Draft, and when you look at the Big South Conference, you'll see a lot of good Sunday talent within the front 7. Gardner-Webb has 3 legit pro prospects in tight end Mike Estes and linebackers Aaron Cook and Chad Jeter, and Estes at 6'4", 232 is arguably the best tight end in the FCS this year and has put together a nice career for the running Bulldogs, amassing 81 receptions with over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Aaron Cook is Mr. Outside, while Chad Jeter is Mr. Inside at linebacker. Both guys are disruptive and play well on both ends of defense. Offensive lineman Eric Alsto is a football game plan preseason All-American and is also a key cog along the Bucs offensive line. His athleticism and movement skills is what makes him a top-notch pro prospect. Both DJ Martin at 6'2", 260 and Darnell Leslie at 6'2", 235 will get strong looks from the pro leagues as stand-up edge rushers, as both are very athletic and disruptive hand-in-the-dirt type defensive ends for head coach Kevin Callahan. Liberty's defensive tackle Jerron Green is your quintessential one-gap penetrator that shows the ability to apply pressure. While his numbers won't wow you, his productivity on film definitely will. And Troy McGowan of Charleston Southern rounds out the list. The 6'1", 190-pound defensive back is an excellent tackler in the open field, as evident by his 31 solo stops last year. McGowan is in the mold of former James Madison and current Carolina Panther defensive back Dean Marlowe and what he brings to the table. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back after this.
New York City, the media capital of the world. But in America, there is a world of media at our fingertips, from coast to coast. The broadcast media industry connects us in so many ways and remains on the cutting edge of providing us news and entertainment. Have you ever pictured yourself working in the media? Did you ever dream of working in TV or on the radio? Make your dreams come true today. Connecticut School of Broadcasting is the oldest and largest group of communication schools in the country. At Connecticut School of Broadcasting, you'll learn by doing with hands-on training straight from professional broadcasters. There is job placement assistance for graduates, day and evening courses available. Graduate and get into the job market in only 8 or 16 weeks. Don't waste another second daydreaming about what you want to do with your life. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO and start living your dream today.
I think the FCS is really, when you look at it, it's the perfect model for football. Okay, in that as a coach, number one, you deal with Division I, it's great. You deal with a high level of athlete. In our case, you deal with a high level of student. It's extremely competitive football. It's a great environment, but it's also doesn't have some of the trappings that the bigger levels have as far as the business and the money of things. But it's pure football. And as a coach, that's what I like is it's about the football. And I think the way we determine our champion is the best playoff system in all of sports. And I think that you can never argue with who the national champion is at the FCS level. And it's just top to bottom the most competitive bracket of playoff sports there is in any of the sports. So if you like the action, I think the quality of play is extremely high. I think the quality of person is extremely high. I think there's some great coaches at our level, and it's attainable to fans too. It's also you come to an FCS game, you have a little bit more of a close experience to the players. And in our case, the players meet the people in the town. It's right there. They're not kind of like these pros in waiting. You can reach out, you can touch them, you can meet the coaches, you can do that stuff. It's just enjoyable football at a real high level still.
Welcome back to Football Game Plan's FCS Kickoff, presented by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, but you guys knew that already. And we're at the home stretch of our 2016 Big South Conference season preview. It's prediction time, so let's take a look and see how we think this thing will shake out this upcoming season. In the 6th spot are the Presbyterian Blue Hose, and the reason for optimism has to involve the Blue Hose rushing attack led by Darrell Bridges and their ability to play really good special teams. Now, I think defensively, especially along the defensive line, the Blue Hose will be solid. The cause for concern will be the passing game. Can they provide balance to keep teams from loading up to stop Bridges? That'll be the biggest question. Again, this is a tricky team because they play everyone very close and will pull off an upset or two, but if their passing game can become adequate, I think they'll win a little bit more. I think the Liberty Flames will have a bit of a setback this year. For me, it all came down to the loss of their quarterback, Josh Woodrum, and key contributors on their defense. Now, breaking in a new quarterback can take a little bit of an adjustment period, but on the bright side, the Flames still have enough talent to right the ship and make it interesting in the conference. How quickly can they gel and stabilize will be the key. Gardner-Webb's defense and special teams will keep them in a ton of ball games this year. Where I like them offensively is obviously along the line of scrimmage and also at tight end with Mike Estes. Now, they'll need a ton of help from everywhere else on that side of the football if they want to push for a conference title. They are virtually in the same boat as Liberty, but I have them rated a bit higher because of what they bring to the table defensively, especially at linebacker. Second-year program, Kennesaw State lands at number 3. The Owls have done an excellent job building depth on both sides of the ball. They have a really good running game, and they're good in the secondary. Quarterback Trey White is an excellent runner. And if they're going to try to take and stake a claim for the conference title, they'll have to add efficiency to their passing game. They don't have to be great, but they have to be much better than what they were last year. With the way the schedule sets up, posting back-to-back winning seasons is highly likely. The Monmouth Hawks are a very good football team that'll be facing a very unfortunate circumstance this year with only 3 home games. However, you know what travels well? Your running game and your defense, and Monmouth has both. Head coach Kevin Callahan does an outstanding job coaching the fundamentals and preaching execution. Once again, his Hawks are strong on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and if you're able to win in the trenches, you'll win more often than not. All 3 of their home games, though, are huge. Charleston Southern, Fordham, Kennesaw State. If they can win 2 out of those 3 games, they'll have a great chance at not only an at-large bid in the FCS playoffs, but the Big South Conference title as well. And at number 1 are the Charleston Southern Bucks. This was a junior laden team last year that got very far in the FCS playoffs, losing to the FCS runner-up in Jacksonville State. Offensively, despite breaking in a new quarterback, they should once again be amongst the best in the FCS with a strong offensive line and a talented trio of tailbacks. Now, defensively, the Bucks can get pressure with their defensive line, which makes things easier for the second and third levels. And despite some of the losses on defense, they are still talented and will be tough for opposing offenses to sustain success against game in, game out. Look for the Bucks to find their way back into the FCS playoffs this year with the mission of ending their season in Frisco, Texas.
The neat thing about the FCS is if it puts you in a position where if you win, you can keep playing. That it's competitive. It is Division I football, and it's also been able to cross conferences. I think within our league, we play alongside the Ivy League, alongside the CAA, alongside the NEC, and it really gives you an opportunity each and every Saturday to prove yourself. The other thing is that these schools within this league are putting people out that are student athletes, that they'll achieve one of the better educations in the country, biased here at Bucknell. But we're also in a position where we can participate and play against some of the FBS schools. Last year we played against Army, and a couple years we played against Temple. To be able to judge yourself in terms of what you've done with your program, what you've done with your team against those teams that are, you know, the more preeminent teams in the country. And that I think we all have to realize that a football field, when it comes down to it, it's 53.3 yards wide and 120 yards long. Regardless of where you're playing, that's the field. And that's what's exciting about college football, that you when you get out there on a Saturday, and I keep telling my team, and I've always said this to my teams, there might be yelling, all right, regardless of who they're yelling for, make sure that you know they're yelling for you.
So that's it for our 2016 Big South Conference preview. Be sure to check out our other FCS Conference previews on the website, footballgameplan.com/FCS Kickoff. Make sure to check out the FCS Opening Drive radio show every Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time with host Luke Diamond and myself. You can download the app for free on Google Play and also on iTunes. The call-in number is located on the screen right now and also where you can listen online. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. Also check out the website at footballgameplan.com/FCS Kickoff.